Hi friends, I'm Yakuta Karkhanawala. So today we are going to see the next chapter, that is file management. So let's understand what is file first. A file is a space in a memory where data is stored. So a file is the one where we store the data, and this particular data is stored in our RAM. If we want to work on this file, that is the mechanism of manipulating with this particular file is known as file management. That's what we are going to study, how to manage a file. Why do we require to have a file? Let's understand the importance of learning file, this topic. That is, we normally do input output operations in our program. So there are two different methods of doing input output operations. One is console oriented and another is file oriented. Up till now, whatever programs we have seen, that was all console oriented. Console oriented means we use terminal for doing basic input output operations. All the input was taken from the terminal and the display was also done in a terminal. For this we were using two important, or you can say the prime functions. One was scanf and another is printf. Scanf was for inputting data into the program and printf was for displaying some output. But all this input and output operations was done using terminal. Console oriented input output operations is suitable when we work with small amount of data. One disadvantage of console oriented input output is that the data is lost when the program is terminated. If you want to input the same data again, you have to again execute your program and input the data once again. So it's not possible to store the console-oriented input data permanent. Major disadvantage of console-oriented was it was working with small amount of data and the data was lost when the program got terminated. Because of this, there is another approach for input-output operation, that is file-oriented approach. Important advantage of file-oriented approach is that it works with large amount of data. So in real time, we have large data and not small amount of data. So for that, file-oriented concept is very useful. Basic input-output operations of large data becomes a tedious job if we do it using console-oriented input-output operations. But it's more easy with file-oriented approach. Another advantage of file-oriented is that the data which we stored in file is permanent. Even if the program has been terminated, the data in the file remains intact and we can use it again later on. We can use the data stored in file for reading operation, writing operations or update operations whenever required. So because of these advantages, we'll be studying how to perform input output operations using files. Also, we have two different types of files. The one is the text file and another is the binary file. Text file means the data is normally stored in character format, which are normal txt files. These txt files or the text files can be created using any text editor like Notepad. While in case of binary files, the files have .bin, that is .binary extensions. In this particular binary files, the data are stored in zeros and ones format. What is the advantage? In text files, we can only store some character data, but binary files are used for varied type of data like audio, video and characters. If you want to work on varied type of data, binary files are more useful than the text files. But if you want to work on only characters, then you can go for text file. Next is file operations. Whenever we are working with file, what are the operations that you can perform on files? The first one is you need to open the file. After opening the file, either you can read the data from the file or you can write something into the file, and then afterwards you have to compulsory close the file. For this particular file operations, a file pointer is being used. This file pointer will move around the file for writing or reading a data from a file. The file pointer is created using a structure. The structure name is file, all in capital letters, which is stored in stdio.h. So if you want to create a file pointer, you need to compulsory make a pointer variable pointing to this particular structure file. We'll understand the details of the file pointer concept later on in the coming slide. For making a file pointer, what is the syntax is? File, that is a structure which is already been created in our library and it has been stored in the library. If you want to create the file pointer, what we'll do is we'll write down *fp. You can give any name to the file pointer. I've given here name as fp. It means that fp is a pointer which is pointing to a file. This is just like a structure pointer which we have seen in earlier video. Now let's understand in detail what are the different inbuilt functions that are available for file operation. The first is, as I said, we need to open the file. So for that we have the function fopen, which is used to open a file. Then for closing the file we have the function fclose. All the file function starts with f, right? In previously we have seen that all the string functions used to start with str. Similarly, all the file function starts with f. Then for reading and writing a character in a file, if you want to make a text file, then we use fputc, that is for writing a single character in a file, and fgetc is used for reading a character from a file one at a time. So this particular fputc and fgetc is used in combination to read and write a single character from a file at a time. Similarly, we have a function, the pair, we have a file function fputw and fgetw. It is used for writing an integer and reading an integer from a file. So if you want to deal with only numbers in a file, then you can go for fputw and fgetw. And the next one is fprintf and fscanf. This fprintf is also used for writing data in a file, and fscanf is used for reading data in a file. What is the advantages of these two functions is that we can read and write data in a specified format. Also, we have three important functions with respect to file that we can use is for working with the file pointers. One is fseek. Fseek is used to set a file pointer to a given position. If you want to set the file pointer to the middle, to the end, or at particular location in a file, we will be using fseek function. ftell function will tell you where is the current location of the file pointer, and rewind means the file pointer is set at the beginning of the file. These three functions are basically used with dealing with file pointers. So these are the 11 important functions with respect to files. We'll see all these functions in details and how to use it in our program. The first one is fopen function. Fopen, as we have discussed earlier, that it is used to open a file. How we are going to use fopen function? The syntax of fopen is file star, means this is the return. It is going to return a file pointer. The name of the function is fopen, and inside the bracket we have two arguments. One is the name of the file which we want to open, which is a character pointer, and another is the mode you need to specify. Mode will tell you that for what purpose you are opening the file, whether it is for reading or whether it is for writing purpose. Let's see the example of fopen function. We have fopen function. Inside that we'll be given two arguments. One is the file name. Say that my file name is a.text. It should be enclosed in double quotes, and second argument is the mode. Okay, if I write mode is equal to w, means I'm going to open this file a.text for writing purpose, and this file is going to return the pointer to the first location of the file, that and which would be stored in fp. Also, if your file, this when you write simply double quotes, means the file should be located in the same current working directory. But if the file is located in some another directory, then you need to specify the complete path in this fashion. Suppose my file is in C drive, it is in some folder, give the name of that folder here, and make sure you use double slash here, then double slash and the name of the file with the extension. So you need to give the complete path in this fashion. Instead of single backslash, you need to use double backslash when giving the complete path to this particular fopen function. It may happen that because of some issues, the file cannot be opened. At that time, fopen function is going to return null. So whenever you use this open function, it is advisable that you check whether the file was opened successfully or not. So for that, what would be the code is if, check for the condition, check whether fp is equal to null, means the file pointer has null value or not. If it is true, then you display a message that the file cannot be opened, and then exit from the program. For exiting from the program, write down exit and bracket 1. This particular code is advisable if you are using after the fopen function. If you skip, then also there is no issue, but it may happen that if there is an error, then the program will be terminated by the compiler and you will not know the reason of the termination of the program. So we have seen that in fopen we have two arguments. One was the name of the file and another was the mode. So there are three important modes available for working with files. The first one is writing mode. Means in this case, we are going to write something into the file. Whenever you open the file in write mode, at that time, if ever the file existed earlier, then the contents would be deleted. The file will become empty, and afterwards you can write some data into this particular file. If the file does not exist, then a new file will be created by fopen function. Next is appending mode. In case of append mode, if the file already exists, the previous contents would remain safe, and then you can write on the new data into this file at the starting from the last character. If the file does not exist, then the new file would be created. And the last mode is reading mode. Reading mode means you are opening the file only for reading purpose. You are not going to make any changes in this particular file. So in that case, the contents will always remain safe. You are opening the file just for reading purpose. In this case, the file should compulsory exist, but if the file does not exist, then you'll get an error. So basically, there are three modes: writing, appending mode, and reading mode. So this is the list of the modes that you can specify in fopen function. When you specify R in double quotes in the second argument of fopen function, it means you are opening the file for reading purpose. You are only going to read the data from the particular file. If you use the mode W, then you are going to write into the file. Remember that the previous data would be deleted if it exists. A, that is append mode, means you are opening the file in which the previous data would remain as it is. They are safe and you can write new data in case of append mode. Also, we have modes like R plus, W plus and A plus. R plus means we are going to open the file for reading as well as the writing purpose. When you write W plus means you use the file for writing as well as reading. A plus means it's used for appending, that is adding some data, or you can say writing the data into the file as well as for reading purpose. Now this six modes R, W, A and R plus, W plus, A plus, these are used in character files, or you can say text files. We have another file, that is binary files. If you want to read, write and append in a binary file, we have to use modes RB, WB and AB. RB is for reading a binary file, WB is writing into a binary file, and AB is for appending in a binary file. We have seen how to open a file by giving a proper name to the file and what mode we are going to give in a file. Now next is fclose function. Fclose, as the name itself suggests, that it is used for closing a particular file. It is advisable that whenever you open a file, after working on the particular file, you close the file using fclose function. What is the syntax of fclose function? Fclose in bracket, now give the name of the file pointer. File pointer means it will specify that this particular pointer is pointing to which file. That file would be closed by the compiler. Fclose returns 0 if the file is closed successfully, and it returns -1 if there is an error in closing of the file. Let's see one example of how you are going to use a fclose function. I have a file pointer fp which is pointing to file. Before using fclose function, we need to open a file. The file can be opened for reading or writing purpose. For that, what will you do is write down fopen in bracket, give the name of the file. I have given the name as a.text, and in double quotes write down W. You can use R, you can use A. The file a.text is open for writing purpose, and this, after opening the file, it will return me the pointer to the first location of the file, which would be stored in FP. Then you can do some operations on the file, and at the end we need to close the file. So for closing the file, write down fclose in bracket FP, the name of the file pointer. So today we have seen what to understand by file, what were the drawbacks of working with console input output operations, which are the different functions available, how to use fopen function and how to use fclose function. That's all for today. Goodbye. Thank you.